Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. We're now joined by head track and field coach, Dr. Peter Ormsby. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We got a chance to sit down and talk with you in early March, so let's get everyone at home caught up to speed on your 2015 track season. Over the last 4 weeks, your teams have competed at 3 outdoor meets: the UNCW Seahawk Invitational, hosted by the University of North Carolina at Wilmington, the Dennis Craddock Carolina Relays, hosted by the University of North Carolina, and most recently, Raleigh Relays, hosted by NC State. You're about halfway through your outdoor season, so what have you seen from your team so far that's impressed you?
The fact that we haven't had great weather for any one of those meets. It's always been either cold and rainy the first day. At NC State over the weekend, it was cold and rainy on Friday night, and then just cold and windy on Saturday, but we had the sun. So really how the teams dealt with that adversity is huge. So we're hoping it's going to be bad weather at conference because we'll know how to compete.
Well, the Braves had noticeably less entries at the Raleigh Relays this past weekend. So what determines who will compete at each weekend, and how much better is the competition at Division I meets, at those Division I meets that you've competed in?
Well, it's new for me with everything, but the Raleigh Relays, from what I've heard, is just a very highly competitive, highly selective meet. They've got standards in place for all events, and if you don't hit the standard, even though you put somebody in, they may not accept you based on who's already in. So it's a great opportunity for our upper level athletes to get in and compete against D1, D3. I think Johns Hopkins was there, and they're a very good D3 program. So it's just a great opportunity to get out and compete against other schools.
Well, I got the chance to make it out to practice last week and was very impressed with the structure of your practice and that everyone is in action at the same time. How do you guide your team at practices among the sprinters, distance runners, throwers, jumpers, to see that each one gets the attention they need when they all compete at the same time or practice at the same time?
It's a lot easier when the distance kids are out running because it gives me more time to kind of go amongst the other event groups. But so far, so good. It's working out very well. We are a little bit understaffed in certain event groups, but we're making it work with our staff right now, and it's actually kind of fun because I'll come up and joke around with them and just kind of lighten the mood a little bit.
Well, around the time the show airs on Saturday, your team will be competing at the High Point hosted Vert Class A meeting, which you'll compete at. And then the next weekend, you'll head up to the North Carolina A&T hosted Aggie Invitational. What are you hoping to see from those, or from your athletes at those two meets, that will prep you for the 2015 Peach Belt Conference Championships? This
weekend at High Point, we're really just we're taking a large group up there. Just some kids already have their marks for PBCs. Other kids are on the borderline. So we're giving everybody a last opportunity to make the mark, improve upon marks this weekend. Next weekend, obviously for the distance kids, they'll probably rest most of them, and then A&T will serve as a fine-tuned prep for jumpers and throwers and some of the middle distance kids that just want that extra opportunity before conference.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the conference championships. Will be hosted by Montevallo beginning on April 17th and running through the 19th in Alabama. A majority of your athletes have posted those conference qualifying marks and events, but can you run through those times and marks needed to qualify for the events at the league championships?
It all differs, and it varies year to year. So what they typically do, I think this year is the first year, the performance list, so all Peach Belt athletes get involved in a performance list. They take the 50th percentile. So this year, just for example, the men's 800 was a 201 to get in, and that's just the 50 top half. And every event group's like that. So some years, sprints and jumps may be a little shorter distances. I know the distance events actually got a little faster this year. So it's going to change, and obviously it's going to be faster as the conference develops and grows and gets more competitive.
Well, over the last 3 meets, senior Hannah Metzinger has attained an NCAA Division II provisional qualifying mark in the javelin throw with a toss of 40.53 meters, which also set a school record. How much progress have you seen in her since you took over the program, and how much more does she need to improve in order to solidify a trip to her first NCAA championships?
Actually, I just talked to her in my office this morning, so it was kind of funny. She's got, I think the auto is about 48 meters, so we're looking at about another 30 feet. And with a lot of the kids, especially in the throws and the jumps, we're just waiting for good weather to throw a provo, and I think it was raining when she did that at UNCW. So we're just waiting for a break in the weather to get these kids some nice warm weather for the sprinters and just not rainy conditions for the throwers and jumpers.
All right, well, we're going to take our next commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking track and field with head coach Dr. Peter Ormsby, so stay tuned.